Hi, this is Austin Parsons, Pitmaster with Smoky Mountain Q in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate sushi for wieners.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about only the most important things in the barbecue and grilling world. In this specific episode, we are answering all the most important questions, and soon we'll be answering questions that really aren't that important to barbecue and grilling, but that's what we do here. When we have the embedded correspondents on, and we have a list of 100% Assurity questions. Still to come on the show, more embedded correspondence shortly. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can watch it on Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch it on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show. As I had mentioned on the way out of the first hour, YouTube poll question of the week: do you think that gas grilling is real grilling? And 78% of you are saying yes, you do. You will hear the second hour of the show on audio podcast on Thursday, but coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 385, taking you back to June 6th of 2017, and a visit from now quarterly guest Mike Lang of Another Pint Please. And we continue to discuss the Weber Charcoal Summit. Now, the Weber Summit Kamado Grill, as it's known today, perhaps a grill that has fallen by the wayside over the past few years as pellet cookers continue to grow in popularity and doesn't require anyone to actually learn fire management. But this is a grill that Kevin Coleman talked about on last week's Best Moment show. But and a year later, we have Mike Lang talking about this cooker as well. So as I mentioned last week, if you're in the market and you want something that can pretty much do everything, also that it's charcoal fired, if that is of real importance to you, then this continues to be an option that could satisfy your needs. No longer called the Weber Summit Charcoal Grill. Now it's the Weber Summit Kamado or Weber Kamado Grill, whatever that's called. Kamado's in the name and Weber, so just know that. You can subscribe to the best moments of the show and the show by going to the website, thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. And if you would like to hear a guest or segment that you feel has fallen by the wayside, that you would like revived, email our pal John Solberg, who we'll see here in just one moment, Jon, John at thebbqcentralshow.com, and let him know what you would like to hear, and he will do his best to meet your expectations. As we pull up the embedded correspondence one more time here, guys. All right, so we've got about 7 minutes here to plow through a couple of the questions, and we will go to John. Lost my place here. Here we go. 100% yes or 100% no. John, you listen to 4 or more barbecue podcasts on a weekly basis.
There are only 2 barbecue podcasts. So the answer is no.
That's right. Rusty, you listen to 4 or more barbecue podcasts.
100% no. I wish I used to, but not anymore.
Matt, you listen to 4 or more barbecue podcasts weekly?
100% yes.
Listen to them all. Doug, you listen to 4 or more barbecue podcasts each week?
This is a stupid question. No.
Right? Wow. I do. No surprise. I listen to everything I can possibly listen to just to see what content people are covering and to see how people are sounding. So I do, of course, and I have for a long time. 100% yes or 100% no? Rusty. You are subscribed to the Barbecue Central Show's YouTube channel.
100% yes.
Matt, you are subscribed to the Barbecue Central Show's YouTube channel.
Twice. 100% yes.
Twice. Got in trouble for that.
Two different accounts.
Maybe you're the guy that got me banned from making money on YouTube. All right, Doug, you're subscribed to the YouTube channel for Barbecue Central Show?
Yes, of course.
John?
Yes, of course.
I don't think I can subscribe to my own, but if I could, I would. So that makes it unanimous. And thank you, by the way, for everybody that's subscribed. I'm almost up to 2 points. 2,700 subscribers. 2 points. Yeah, I wish. All right. Matt, we'll start with you here, getting the last couple. 100% yes or 100% no. Proving that I am a hypocrite's hypocrite, I have finally used the hardcore carnivore everyday carry steak knife in a real-life situation within the last 30 days.
All right, so this time it's 30 days, which takes us close to 30 days. 100% yes. Yeah, this time you got it.
This time I did it. All right, Doug, this time I did it.
The pic of me using mine on lamb inspired you, so yes.
Lamb is delicious. John, I've used the everyday carry steak knife.
Oh, for all the love of all things holy, 100% no, you have not.
Rusty, I have used, finally, in my ultimate hypocrisy, I have used the everyday carry steak knife.
100% no chance.
50% of you are right, and 50% of you are wrong. Within the last 30 days,
Andrew,
I have not used the everyday carry steak knife. There's no better sound drop than that. I feel like I could ask this every month. Somebody's going to say yes. Also, I feel like one of these months, I'm probably going to say yes. But it ain't this month, chumps. 100% yes
I'm coming up
or 100% no, Dougie. When the embedded correspondents predict that something won't happen, it means that it most certainly will happen.
Not a chance. Still at 3.8.
John, when the embedded correspondents predict that something won't happen, it means it will happen.
100% yes.
Rusty, when we predict it won't, it assuredly means it will.
Well, I'm 100% right, so I'm carrying the team. You guys need to step up. But
no. Matt, when we predict it won't happen, it most certainly will happen.
100% no.
Okay. History has proven, yes, it's 100% correct. When we say things are not going to happen, they do happen. Case in point, the Weber deal never closing. Yeah, it closed like 6 seconds after we said it wouldn't. Literally 6 seconds later, it closed and became a whole thing. So, what can I tell you? Oh, wait, that's it. We've done it. We're through it. 100% Assurity Questions. All right. Now, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to bump this out so we have a little bit more room to continue on. So now that we're done with the 100% Assurity Questions, we also have a few other items that we can just discuss here as we make it through the balance of the second hour here. One of these has been on the docket for well over a year. We're going to get to it right now. I feel like maybe this was even a Rusty question from well over a year ago, but I could be wrong. Rusty, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So let's go around and ask everybody this. And Doug, we'll start with you. World champion, competition cook. Which of the four major proteins would you drop from competition? Chicken, ribs, pork shoulder, or brisket?
Being from Texas, it's obvious pork shoulder.
Any reason?
86 it. you're already cooking one form of pork and you're not going to throw ribs out. So the alternative is you got to throw the shoulder out.
All right. John, which of the 4 major proteins would you drop from competition?
You know what? As much as when I did cook in competition on teams, the thing I would cook was chicken, and it's the thing that I think I can really cook the best of those in a competition.
Yeah, same.
It's got to be chicken. Chicken's got to go. It's got to go. It's not even barbecue.
Rusty, you're a high line competitor. Which of the 4
Brisket
proteins?
all day.
Brisket all day. All right, Matt, which one are you taking?
4,000. We got to save competitions and get rid of brisket.
Yeah, all right, Matt is getting rid of brisket as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, I'm aligning with Rusty and Matt here. I'm dumping brisket. From what I've heard, it's pot roasty at best. I mean, I've never cooked in a competition in my life, so like, what the hell do I know, right? I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but they're very expensive. And look, I mean, everybody continues to just cook the same. I know there could be redundancy in pork shoulder and pork ribs, but they're different enough for the judges. Get rid of brisket, cost saver. And I do kind of agree with John. Like, barbecue chicken is not barbecue chicken, right? From competition scene. But John, would you say that chicken is further departed from what you would normally see in a backyard than what you would see from a brisket in competition?
Well, and this is my own bias, but chicken is grilled in the backyard. Chicken is grilled. It's cooked in the backyard. It's not barbecued. It's not smoked. And brisket is absolutely barbecued.
Yeah.
If you say which one, could try grilling a brisket and see what you wind up with. You can't do it, right? You got to do it low and slow. So it's like change the way that the brisket is judged, but chicken it's a grilled product. It's not even barbecued. It's poached chicken. I'm not talking about Texas. I know they do things a little different, but for the most part, if you're cooking chicken and soup, everybody can do it now. It's easy. They got it dialed in. Give away the hard one so it's easier for you to compete, which is brisket. Get rid of chicken because it's not really barbecue meat.
All right, so the American Royals BBQ Hall of Fame has a new class of 2025. And if you were not familiar, the 10 names that had a chance to get in are the following. Phil Hopkins, David Close, Mark Lambert, Ben Lang, Brad Leiniger, Philip McClard, Roger Mooking, Roy Perez, Donnie Teal, and Helen Turner. Now, these are all people that are living. So, John, as you review the 10 finalists' name, was there anybody on there that stuck out to you or anybody that you were going to throw your betting dollars towards as you saw the list?
Well, I threw my betting dollars at between Donnie Teal and Brad Leiniger. I had it on Brad. I saw him going over Donnie Teal, to be honest, even though I don't know how many years he's been on the list, if at all. So that's my only real toss-up on the list. The rest of it, I see where it's coming from.
Rusty, when you look at the 10 finalists, anything stick out to you?
Well, Brad Leiniger on there. I don't know. I feel like he's not new. I'm not going to say he's new, but he feels new. And that's who I was rooting for. I thought that was going to be a shoo-in. That was pretty awesome. But it's all pretty, standard stuff. David Klaus, I think he's the dude too. This his second time, right? In a row? Am I wrong?
So Dave Close, I believe this was his third time.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. But yeah, nothing crazy.
Matt?
Opposite of John, Ben Lang and Mark Lambert were the two that I would have put my money on. I thought they were shoo-ins. I talked to Brad this past weekend, congratulated him on the nomination and whatnot. And he kind of said, he says, man, I'm too new. he's very hot right now. He's Brad Leiniger, right? He's the Tom Brady of competition barbecue. I don't know. I think it was too early. I think, as we all kind of said, he needs to be on there at least one more time for some heavy consideration. But I thought Ben, look, a lot of us have owned or cooked on Lang's. Guy's been doing it since the 80s, man. That's a hefty contribution with that style of cooker for our industry.
Doug, you see anything on the list?
Well, what I didn't see was what kind of surprised me. So no Andy Husbands or no Malcolm Reed.
Yeah.
I thought I would have chosen them as one of my final four as compared to, four off that list. So yeah, that surprised me.
All right. So I would go there along with you. Not necessarily so much with Andy Husbands. I'm not saying he's not deserving of it, and certainly he's been up for Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame as well, being championed by Rusty for the past number of years and making legitimate arguments from a guest standpoint. But from a Barbecue Hall of Fame standpoint, I was a little surprised that he had made the finalists list. He's been successful, but I don't know if it's like Hall of Fame worthy. But then Malcolm Reed had been on the 10 finalists for 2 years in a row. This would have been his third year. Dave Close on this list 3 years in a row. History, at least the short-term history, has proven once you get nominated the third time, it's typically the third time that you're nominated, you cross over into the actual hall itself, a la Meathead and Darren Worth and Leanne Whippen and a number of other folks that were nominated 3 years in a row and then ultimately making it in that third year. So I could see Dave Close being nominated again, coming in. I was shocked that Malcolm Reed didn't even make it into the 10 after being a 10 finalist for 2 years in a row. Absolutely shocking to me. And I'm not sure who's on the names committee at this point. I had some back and forth with the Hall of Fame as to some other questions that we'll get into here in a second. When I look at the list otherwise, I can certainly understand where Brad is too new, but how do you say too new, but then look at everything that he's accomplished? He's the best competition cook we've ever seen. He is a philanthropist. He does game shows. He has his own barbecue business. He's not just a jack of one trade. I mean, he does a number of different things. So I don't know if there's been another human that has taught more people about competition barbecue than a Brad Leiniger. Couple that with Tim Shear because they were kind of doing those classes together, but he's had to have taught thousands and thousands of men and women how to do competition barbecue. So, while I can see him being too new, that doesn't, in this kind of a Hall of Fame, I don't think you got to be on there long. If you're qualified, you should just be able to get right in. So, ultimately, we end up with this, a 2025 Hall of Fame class comprised of Dave Close, Roy Perez, Donnie Teal, and Helen Turner. John, anybody on that list that you would take off?
Man, this is a hot seat question, isn't it? Like, would I take them off?
You can say no.
They're all deserving. I would take them off because I want like their opponent. These all kind of have a yin and a yang. There's two people for each category, and I disagree with some of the ones that were selected.
So
but they're all worthy to.
Let me re-ask. If you look at the list that's going in, who would you take off and put in their place?
I take off Donnie Teal and I put in Brad Leiniger. Mm-hmm. I think Close is the right choice because you just got to go. Can you say Jambo? Hello. And competition barbecue. I didn't know Helen Turner prior, and of course, Roy is Roy, and he's been around forever. So that would be my trade out. Would be Donnie for Brad.
Yeah. What do you think about the list that makes it in, Rusty, and who would you trade out, if any?
Well, I was looking over the list thinking it's a really, really good list. Like I really like it. Not that I never haven't liked it, but I think everyone's really deserving. But I kind of, when John was talking, I have to agree. Donnie Teal's awesome, but Brad Line, Donnie Teal comes from the competition world. He also has a barbecue joint, but Brad just does it better. But I think the other three are legends and need to be in there. That needs to happen. But I think you could swap them out for sure. But I think this is rock solid. Besides that,
Matt, would you swap anybody out?
What is it that they say in the ladder of success? Every rung is somebody else's back. Yeah, we'll take Donnie out. I'll put Ben in. I'll say it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm biased.
I don't know if Donnie is even like top 10 finalists worthy. He has done it for a long time. This is a guy who's a Donnie Teal fan. I met him in person a long time ago in Oklahoma, if you can believe it, when I was in Oklahoma. And I mean, the fact that this guy never smiles for a picture is like one of the best things that has ever happened in competition barbecue world to me. You take a picture with this guy and it's like mugshot after mugshot after mugshot, and it's just the fucking best. But when I think of all-time greats, it's not somebody that pops right into my mind where I could list off 20 other guys and guys or gals that would be ahead of him. So the names committee chooses it. What can I say about it? So he's on there. I would probably take him off, put a Brad in, put a Ben Lang in. Let me go back to the list
Mark
here and see Helen Turner, Donnie Teal, Roy. But let me go so far as to say this. I'll keep Donnie Teal on the 10. I have no idea what Roger Mooking is doing on a top 10 finalist for the BBQ Hall of Fame. So apologies to Donnie Teal. I had to review that list again. Like, I know Roger Mooking is some kind of TV host in Canada. I can't name the show. I've never seen an episode outside of that show. What has he done? I don't know. So I don't know, A, who nominates him and how that name makes it onto the top 10 finalists. Malcolm Reed doesn't make it back on.
Get that big stuff out of here.
That is suspect to the highest degree. And now we're going to have to call investigations and potential boycotts potentially later, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, if I remember. But that's shocking to me. Mark Lambert on that list, fine. So from in the hall, Dave Close, absolutely. Roy Perez, legend, absolutely legend. Helen Turner, legend. And I'm fine with Donnie Teal getting in ultimately. So those are your 4 living members. Now your legacy members: Ernest Alexander, Walter Jetton, and Paul Shoddy. I'll be the first to lead off here and say I don't know Ernest Alexander and I don't know Walter Jetton. John, do you know those first two?
No, I do not. Paul is the only name that I recognize on that list.
Rusty, do you know the first two?
Nope. Don't know the last one.
You don't know the last one?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
That's right. Matt, do you know the first two?
I'm with Rusty. I don't know all 3.
Oh,
I'm too new.
All right. John. Doug, do you know the first two?
No, I don't.
All right. Now the floor is yours for Paul Shoddy.
I appreciate this. I've nominated Paul Shoddy many times, and he was at Head Country for many years. I think since '94 or so. Was brought on to basically do barbecue cooking, and he loved it. And he was the first one, other than I think it's Tuffy Stone, that won the American Royal and the Jack Daniels in the same year. And after winning the Houston Rodeo, I was lucky enough to be asked and invited to cook on the Wild Game crew and cook side by side with Paul for 7 years. And A lot of people thought we were brothers because of Shoddy and Shiting, and in truth, Paul thought that barbecue had passed him by, and so he kind of helped reinvigorate me and me with him, and we had a special relationship, and I was, it was tragic the way he passed, and I thought it was long overdue that he finally got in.
Yeah, always would be much better for these folks to be living and be able to enjoy the honor as it's happening in real time, but not the case here. Paul, also a guest on the show twice, I believe, and a great guest each time. And that first interview was, spectacular because you get all the background of a young Paul Shoddy and how he gets into barbecue, how he gets into head country, and eventually how he kind of turns into Paul Shoddy outside of head country. If you knew Paul Shoddy, it was synonymous, right, Doug? I mean, it was Paul Shoddy and head country, and it was like that pretty much forever. So to be able to then spin out of that and create individuality when you almost seem to be part and parcel of a huge brand. I mean, you get out, head country is a huge brand anyway, but especially out there in that particular region, Oklahoma and North Texas, and, where it's heavily used. That's a tough thing to do, and he was very successful at doing that. So I was happy to see that in a legacy manner, Paul was able to get in this time.
And he was a month away from really opening up his Paul Shoddy products. He had signed the lease on the building, et cetera. And I will say that there is no person, like in wine, there's sommeliers, tequila, there's a catadora. He had the best palate for rubs and sauces on deciding what ingredients they were, and how when you scale things, especially with making sauces, as you scale them, you don't scale them 1-to-1 because some of the ingredients take over when you get larger batches. So he was phenomenal in that way.
All right, John, Impact Award is National Barbecue News. Any thoughts on National Barbecue News?
I think that's a good call. If I could just back up quickly, Doug, not to get too far ahead on the best moments, a week from this Friday is the Paul Shoddy's first time on the show on the best moments. So I hope you can look forward to that and catch up with. If you don't know, you guys that don't know Paul, it's a good show. National Barbecue News, that is another great Impact Award. I wish it was the Barbecue Central show, but I think that these guys are a pretty close second.
Rusty, any thoughts on Barbecue News getting the Impact Award? There was no Impact Award last year, by the way. It's not guaranteed every year.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great.
No.
I love that.
Matt?
I love that magazine. It's fantastic.
I'm okay with it. I think they're still relative. Effort.
You mean relevant?
What did I say?
Relative?
Did I say relative? Oh, sorry. Relevant.
All right.
And, hey, give them their credit.
Doug, National Barbecue News?
I nominated them, so I wonder how many other people nominated them.
Wow.
And after I went to the event at the Shed, they have been around since 1990. That's when the Barbecue News started.
Yep.
The Phelps family has been writing about barbecue and involved in barbecue for all this time. And Kel Phelps and Janet Phelps, they basically saved in BBQA in my mind. So I think, it was the Titanic. It was going down, and I thought there was no way anybody could save it. And they worked tirelessly for barbecue. And so that family has been involved in barbecue for a long time. So when I went to the Shed and I was like, they deserve the Impact Award. So I nominated you, Greg, Sterling, and who else? Yeah, and them for the Impact Award. There was one other person I had nominated. Yeah, so
great. So all great points that Doug makes. Also, a fun fact here, for a number of years, as I started getting into this whole barbecue scene, so it would have been around 2004 or so, as I was getting my board together and then ultimately podcast, Kel Phelps was also the guy that put on a contest called the Best of the Best, which was his version of trying to crown a true unsanctioned national champion. So he would get teams from all sanctioning bodies, and if you won any major barbecue competition, you were invited, and you went to Douglas, Georgia. And for years, Best of the Best was put on, and it was widely considered to be one of the majors that you wanted to be invited to and then win if you were a competition cook back then. And then ultimately, like most of great competitions, eventually it went away. Didn't make sense anymore to keep putting on. But to me, that's a jewel in the Phelps barbecue treasure chest that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. And National Barbecue News still around. As Matt said, still relevant, still covering the topics. Like Doug said, been around forever. I think Kel's parents started that, and then he eventually took it over. So multi-generational business covering barbecue, for crying out loud. So, I mean, I've been doing the show live since 2008 and in this podcast since 2006, and he was doing it 16 years before I was doing that on the written word, no less. So congratulations to National Barbecue News on the Impact Award there. All right, so a couple more topics here before we call it a night. Memphis in May versus Smoke Slam. So we talked about this in the Assurity Questions. Rusty, just kind of circling back here with a Heath Riles win with ribs as a competition cook. Some of your thoughts maybe on what the win means and also on Heath in general.
Well, Heath's an awesome cook, especially ribs. And I think I don't know. I mean, this might be just me not, knowing too much about Memphis and May, never going, all that fun stuff. But it just felt like that ribs got a bad shot just because they're ribs. It's not a whole hog. It's not a pork, shoulder or whatever. It was just ribs. And I feel like that was just more of what it was. That's just my take on it. So it's cool to see that, someone like Heath, who kills the rib game, can come up and do that. And it's kind of relevant now, and I hope it continues because, like I said, to me, ribs is the best barbecue item, period. So it's cool to see. Gives me hope. Maybe I can go compete in Memphis in May now and feel good about it.
Matt, what do you think about Heath's win?
So being at Springfest, which for a lot of people is a KCBS/MBN contest held in Hernando or anyway, it's just south of Memphis. I stood right next to Heath and their whole crew when they got their rib call and won that MBN GC with ribs. The only reason I mentioned that, there's a stigma in the area. If you win that contest for MBN and you're competing in Memphis a couple weeks later, you don't have a shot. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody has ever won Memphis winning the MBN. Hats off to the man. He's been practicing. I think he really has been on an agenda. I think it has been something that just all the effort, right? And when we heard, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised that he made finals. I wasn't surprised that he won ribs. I wasn't surprised that Heath Riles win ribs at Memphis, winning, that's his third rib title. And that's his fourth top 10 in the past 5 years. So man set out and man has done it.
Doug, any thoughts on Heath Riles winning?
They had, when I go to a contest, I like to just focus and I don't like to cook, for people. And they had events the 2 nights prior to the main competition where they were hosting, I don't know, it was Yeti or somebody, and they hosted 2 large groups. Actually, Tuffy Stone did not cook Memphis in May this year, but his side, his guy, France Berger, who we know well, he actually was helping and he was on the team with Heath Riles. And so he had a heck of a team put together. And it's amazing that you need all those people for a rib. But anyway, he was a man possessed. And like I said, I wish he would have done it, and broken the 21-year streak.
John, any thoughts on Heath Riles' win in Memphis?
I do, and I have an unpopular point of view.
All right, let's hear it.
First of all, I love Heath Riles. Heath Riles, I know we know each other, from afar. I don't want to take away from his win, but when I sit back and look at this, this is a shift away from the old, right? Where is Chris in my social media? I don't see him doing Weber stuff. I don't see him doing Big Grand Egg stuff anymore. I don't see him anymore. He's falling off. And Heath is in the forefront. He's kicking it every single day. He's out there. He's known. Yeah, he had to make the finals with the blinds. Once he got the finals, it was like, okay, Chris is old guard. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. The up and coming new in your face is Heath and his brand. This is a marketing shift. And as Memphis and May tries to stay alive, because it's just a big oak tree that died. It's already dead. It just is going to take it years to fall down. An oak tree can stand living for years, but Memphis and May is dead. So they're making a shift away. I'm not taking away from his win, but this was just freaking gamesmanship and posturing. That's the way I read this. I apologize to anybody who was offended. Heath won ribs fair and square. Did he beat Chris Lilly's shoulder? That's a stretch. That is a stretch for me, but it happened.
I'm not surprised that Heath won the ribs category again. He appears to be completely possessed in his want and desire to win ribs again at Memphis and May, but more than that, finally get over the top and win the whole thing. So when I saw him taking grand champion, like world champion, and the overall, I wasn't necessarily surprised. John, I don't think you're necessarily off base. I think I think Heath is really, I would say that Heath has pulled his best Malcolm Reed card. He's seen what Malcolm has done. He has seen the success that Malcolm has had. If you look at a lot of what Heath has done, Malcolm has already been there, done that, and there's a lot of similar looks, a lot of similar aesthetics, completely two separate individuals without a shadow of a doubt. I think if you go into a judging event with Malcolm, you get a completely different pitch than you're going to get with Heath. So there's a differentiator there, but I don't disagree that he's somebody that hits social media tremendously, and he is out there trying to promote the brand and grow his rub business and grow his sauce business and any other business that's associated around the Heath Riles brand at this point. He wants to grow and monetize and make into a huge company, and he appears to be being pretty successful at that. So I'm not sure what I feel like this win for Heath. This is me talking. I don't know Heath. I feel like this win to Heath makes him feel legitimized in the whole Memphis and May arena. He got over. He did it in ribs. He's won ribs 3 of the last 4 years or 3 of the last 5 years, whatever it is. But getting over the top and getting this overall championship, especially over a Chris Lilly that was there. I have no idea who the team that had the hog was. But to say Chris Lilly was on my level and I pushed over and got over on them, I think this feels best for him inside. Maybe we don't even see him next year. Maybe he goes across the street, goes to SmokeSlam and tries to clear off $185,000 in cash because now he's got a Memphis and May world title in his back pocket, and that becomes less attractive. Can you get more famous if you win 2? Can you get more famous if you win 3? I mean, I don't know. It seems like nobody can win more than 5 at this point, and that's gone on forever. So I think it's a great win for him, but I think it probably helps him fill a void of some sort, or he's able to knock down a life goal. It seems like DeSoto County in Mississippi is a hotbed for some of the winningest teams in Memphis and May history. You got now Heath, you got John Wheeler, you have Melissa Cookson. I mean, it's a micro hotbed of Memphis and May talent that has won and won and won. So very, very impressive, a little geographical tidbit there. Chris Lilly winning yet another pork shoulder category. Does that get lost in all of this, Doug? Doug's frozen. I knew it. It's like Doug is either asleep or he's frozen. John, do you think that Lily's win in whole hog, or Lily's win in shoulder again gets lost in the mix here?
It kind of does, because when you just asked the question, I realized that I had lost it. Does that make sense? Like, I wasn't. I was. Yeah, no big deal. He won. I was focused on the ribs and Heath's win. So yeah, it did get lost in the mix.
Doug, do you think Chris Lily's pork shoulder win got lost in the mix here?
Yes, absolutely. Because wasn't it a record 7th? So he won it for the 7th time, and I think that leads all the most wins in a single category. I don't understand why people want to change from, if they do well in whole hog, then they switch over. Because like Ridiculous, what they cooked something else. They cooked shoulder this year, so
yeah. That was Blues Hog MO. They did ribs, and then they went shoulder, and then they went whole hog. So, yeah, dance with what brung you. Rusty, do you think Chris Lily's win got lost in the mix here?
Yeah, just because it was ribs, and Heath Morales finally, doing his thing. Sadly, Chris Lilly is like the shit, so that sucks. But he's awesome. Hopefully, he wins it.
You agree, Matt?
Yes and no, and here's the no part. Chris, as far as I understand it, sidebar conversation when I've seen him out over Big Bob Gibson and the Chris Lilly, it's shifting to the Suns like now and has been for a few years. They're poised to take over the reins. As far as I know, and what Chris said, I believe his sons ran the whole program this year. Like it was their cook. Maybe he did the on-sites or something like. I mean, he was still up there on stage, but this was the passing of the reins, and look what they accomplished: a first, and whole shoulder. So that's the yes part. That's the no part. Look, I'm a Heath fan. I'm a sponsor team for this year. Heath is so, and to your point earlier about Malcolm, Heath and Malcolm are buds. They have helped him and Candace a lot and direction, but Heath really has taken more of a boots on the ground, still involved with the competition route, plus into the backyard. Like if you can do both of those things at the same time, it's my opinion, Heath does that. Malcolm's approach, straight kind of more backyard. They've got their teams they still sponsor and whatnot, but Malcolm wants to be, right next to every Weber kettle, period. Heath wants his name with the hat, with the shirt, walking on stage, and right next to the Weber kettle outside. So can't blame him.
Yeah, I think Chris Lily's win maybe gets lost in the mix a little bit. I had heard also that he's handing, or, that transition is happening. I wasn't sure to what form. It'd probably be worth having Chris on to talk about how that transition is going to happen, especially at Memphis in May, when you have an opportunity to go ahead and overall world titles. And as John said, is he like falling off at this point? Not in a disrespectful way, but like kind of drawing himself back from the spotlight. If Chris Lilly is doing the on-site presentation, if I'm Big Bob Gibson, I want every possible chance that I have at winning. And Chris Lilly gives me the best shot with those judges. I mean, everybody still knows him. One of the most recognizable faces. Probably has one of the best presentations that you hear. He's got to have it dialed in by now. He's been doing it for 700 years. And it has won many, many times, both in a category segment and in an overall segment. So I would be utilizing him, if for nothing else, than to close. But, I mean, at some point, all that has to go to the boys. And then, which is one the better cook and one the better presenter. You're probably not going to have two presenters because you're probably having two starting quarterbacks on an NFL team, which means you probably don't have one. But probably worth a segment on the show to have Chris on talk about how that whole thing is starting to transition. But to your point, Matt, I mean, if he's handing it over and those two guys were running the show and they won the whole shoulder again, I mean, that is pretty macho. Go ahead.
Well, one more thing. I know Doug's seen I don't know if you guys seen it, a photo. When you go to their cook site and, shake hands, say hello, they've got their presentation room. It is literally corner to corner with their Memphis and May trophies. Like they bring so do so many other teams, but all you physically have to do is sit at the table from the judge and say, I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah.
What you're going to get right here is worthy of these, and go from there.
Go ahead, John.
Don't forget the one thing about Chris Lilly and Big Bob Gibson's is those boys and Chris and everybody on that team, they run whole shoulders all day, every day for a living.
Yeah.
It is not unusual. It's like, yeah, they won because that's the great separator. How many teams down there are running shoulders like Big Bob Gibson's every single day? That's why I think that Chris or Big Bob's will beat Jack's Old South on getting over the tie. They do it every single day. It's not a big deal for them.
From a smoke slam standpoint, I won't go around the dais here, but if anybody has any hot takes or any celebratory thoughts on a smoke slam, Matt, go ahead.
Being the only one that was there. First of all, big shout out to Old Booger Bear. We walked the stage, made finals in ribs, and we got third. So big effort, big well done, and the massive amount of folks that do that. But look, smoke slamming this year felt different, not just because the layout was different, but as so many people have said, it's a well-oiled machine. They have the river, they have the prize pool. What are we missing? We're missing the reciprocity with the Jack, with the rodeo, with the Royal. And per some conversations I've had, no names please, rule number 1, it's going to happen. It's in the works. There is merit. What I heard specific to the Jack is this. Brown Foreman has to take a step back and risk reward of giving such thing to Smoke Slam. And it comes down to this. As soon as you say yes to this one, you're going to categorize them by either prize pool or entries. And there are so many others, at least entry-wise, that can beat them. So if you open up this gate, you're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry in line saying, what about us? And really right now, the only thing they have is they have the river and they got the coin. Right? Here comes the money. Remember that? All the lead up to it?
Here comes it is. I don't remember it.
Here comes the money. I'm just saying, 10 racks for a third place rib. What other competition got that?
Yeah.
What other competition got that type of money? I think it's going to happen. I'm putting my dollars in it. It's just a matter of time. May I've talked to Mr. Gray about the case CBS Invitational giving reciprocity to Smoke Slam. Break that ice, forge the way, and yeah, you're going to see a lot more teams come over. 100%. 100%. You're going to see teams. We already grew like 30% year over year. Book it.
35% for.
Okay, pardon me.
Being on the point there. So it's pretty big growth year over year. I see that happening as well. And I think for a lot of teams that maybe have already won it, they were wondering if this thing was really going to be something that is going to be showing up every year, that, you know, this third year is going to be that make or break that's really going to show people, yeah, this thing has got legs, it's going to stay, as long as the money keeps showing up. I mean, that's tough to beat. I mean, Robbie Royal wins overall grand championship, wins ribs or wins pork and is a fourth in ribs, and he walks away with $72,500. Mm-hmm. So, you know, back out whatever your expenses are. I mean, you're still way in the plus money, I would assume. So that's just a huge contest from a monetary standpoint. That's what I was saying. Like, what draws Heath Riles back to Memphis in May? Now he's got that notch in the belt. Why not go across the street and see if you can't win some major bucks and recoup some of those years where you didn't push over to the top?
Which, by the way, Ribs won last year. Ribs was the category that GC'd the first annual Smoke Slam.
Last topic. Anybody see the Texas Monthly latest top 50 list? Doug, surprised at number 1?
Not in the least bit.
Yeah.
I knew it's like when when he was on Chopped, when Ernest was on Chopped, Grill Masters, the first season of that, and he was having a watch party, and I knew that he had ordered a $50,000, trailer, and that was the prize money. So I knew he was going to win. The lines this weekend for Burnt Bean were way outrageous.
Oh, man.
And I was like, it's out. He's going to win. But he has been busting his butt with all kinds of chefy creations with barbecue. And hats off to him. He works hard. He loves it. And I hope he gets what he wants from being this. It's like the Emmys.
John, do you like number one?
Of course. It's the only one on the list of 3 that I know.
You don't know Leroy or Goldie's?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Never heard of them.
Rusty, you like that list of 3, especially number one?
Yeah, man. Ernest is something else, man. I think if anyone deserves it, it's him. I work 60 to 90 hours on average, and I feel like I'm working a part-time job compared to that dude. And I mean that. I mean, very literally. So, I mean, he's putting in the work. He's doing it. I've had the food. It's fantastic. It's all excellent. So totally makes sense, that he did it. Leroy and Lewis is awesome too. I hope they get their day in the sun, but Ernest, man, he just, how you succeed in business is just outwork everyone. And that's just how you do it. And that's exactly what Ernest is doing. So,
Matt, you like Burnt Bean at number one?
I do. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I loved his post about having a new pope and having the pope at number one. Congrats to him. And here's the other thing. I know he does it as well, but man, there's probably an entire massive team, right? Like he's the head, he gets the figure, but he will be the first to tell you it's because of this person and that person and, all the people behind him. And I think he does a really good job of bringing them to his success as well. So hats off.
Yeah. So his partner, David Kirkland, is also a big part of that. I think he would be the first guy that he would mention as being a significant part of this, but Ernest. So I think there's a couple really unique things here. You're seeing a guy that is, I don't know Texas geography probably like Doug does, but like Seguin, Texas isn't necessarily like a hot spot people are rushing to if Burnt Bean Barbecue was there, right? Like that's probably a town that it's like generational families that live there. You probably don't move out of that town. You're born there, you work there, you have kids there, and it happens again and again and again. Like small towns around the country. So the fact that he was able to put a barbecue restaurant there, so not incredibly surprising that you got a barbecue restaurant in Texas, but one that's going to take the Texas Monthly's top 50 in the number one spot in that kind of a town is a bit surprising. It would kind of be like if Joe Martinez won number one barbecue restaurant out there in El Paso, and El Paso probably would be a bigger city than Seguin, Texas would. So that's unique in its own right. Seeing or knowing from afar where I started to see Ernest Cervantes to now 15 plus years later being number one barbecue restaurant in Texas, according to Texas Monthly. Incredible achievement. Very accomplished barbecue pitmaster on the competition side of things for a long time before he decided to get in the restaurant. The thing that I find most notable, so everybody says the barbecue is great at Burnt Bean. Very quickly to say, but you got to show up on Sunday because the huevos rancheros are blow your mind good, or the brunch that he makes is blow your mind good. I mean, this is a fine dining, classically trained chef from the roots who has also kind of like a Tuffy Stone story where, the guy's a chef, but fell into the barbecue scene and has been able to produce, from all accounts, some of the best barbecue bites and some of the best bites outside of barbecue in a barbecue restaurant that you can have. So those things make this one very unique. By the way, Goldie's just dropping to number 3. Not much of a fall off at all. They were the last number one 4 years ago when this list came out. And then Leroy and Lewis being at number 2. I agree. I think their day in the sun is probably coming, but not a huge fall off. Also, I was happy to see that my favorite Texas barbecue restaurant, Truth Barbecue, is still in the top 10 at number 9. So congratulations to Lee Battelle. Very good. We go in Houston every time we go. So, all right, we have time for promotion as we've taken up the balance of the second hour, if you can believe it. Doug, what are we promoting tonight?
Well, I will be in probably a couple of months. I will be going to the ACE convention because my rubs are actually going to be in the ACE warehouses. So hopefully I'm coming to an ACE near you.
Nice. John, what are we promoting?
Like every time we're on here, the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less each Friday. Subscribe to the Barbecue Central Show podcast and it'll pop into your feed. Check it out this week.
Rusty, what are we promoting?
You can come to Salt City Barbecue downtown Salt Lake, and then you can look forward to my new book, How Not to Die by Working at Salt City Barbecue for $100 a day.
All right. Is that going to be out with all the other cookbooks next spring, or
posthumously? Probably I'll be dead.
Yes.
So
it's called posthumously, but all right, posthumously.
Yeah, that's it's humously, so it's fine.
That's right. That's what Doug says. Matt, what are we promoting tonight?
2 quick things on Monday Nights Live, Right on Cue podcast, starring me every now and then, and maybe we'll pull back Rusty into that. We'll see. And I promise, folks, coming soon at some point. We've had some delays. We've had some obligations. We had some sadness this week. The world headquarters of Blinky's Offset Barbecue will happen next week. We are open for business. Finally, June 4th, we're going to be there. So a week from tomorrow, I promise. Give me the Bible here. Where is it? Here it is. So other than that, go
ahead, Russ.
This guy.
I forgot.
Yep.
I did a segment on my old podcast, the Pitmasters Podcast, which will be coming out in a few weeks. So look for that.
Really?
There you go.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
Back showing up. Did you host it, or you were a guest?
I was a guest.
Yeah. Is that weird to be a guest on the show that you hosted? Like you were kind of the work on that show.
Yeah, it was fun. It was Jesse's cool. Jesse's one of my favorite people, so it's just fun chatting with those guys. So yeah.
That's interesting. Jesse's one of my favorite people, but you did the show with Anthony for years.
I like Anthony. Anthony's cool.
Okay, well, I mean, you didn't say it.
Well, he's not one of my favorite people. He's a good dude. I like him.
He is a people's. Anthony is a people's.
Jesse's really integral in my success as a barbecuist.
Aha, got it. All right. So, well, yeah. Look, here they are. Doug Scheiding just to the right of me from Texas, longest running embedded correspondent. Then John Solberg just to the right of him, and Rusty is just below me, and then just to the right of Rusty is Matt from Tennessee, Utah, Michigan, and Texas, running it in reverse. Guys, appreciate the extended 2 hours here tonight. I appreciate it. I promise next month we go back to the second hour only, but this was fun. You guys were magical, and have a great evening. It's the Embedded Correspondents right there. Now, before we get out of here, and we got to do it real quick because eventually I will run out of time, I am saying that we do have a programming note for next week. We will not...
Andrew, you are
not having a live show next week. I will be in the Bahamas next week. However, I have recorded some bonus content or new to you content, which you will see a Malcolm Reed brand new interview for a release on Wednesday, and then a Sam the Cooking Guy recording for release next Thursday. And then, of course, we'll have the traditional or normal best of on Friday. So while I will not be here for a live show on Tuesday because I will be at Rest and Relaxation, I do have new to you content locked and loaded, ready to go. How about that? All right, all the way back in the first hour and the second hour, the Embedded Correspondents running through a laundry list of 100% Assurity questions and then talking about some other live fire topics as well. Again, no live show next Tuesday, but we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. So until then, it's your program, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget until 2 Tuesdays from now. The program host, Project U.S. American, and Greg Rempe saying, Shabba!
Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to Barbecue Central.